Carry less, capture more by VILTROX. They've done it again. I love this recent prime lens range that they're bringing out. This is the 15mm autofocus 1.7 Z-mount for APS-C cameras. That's your Z50, your Z52, your Z30, your ZFC, your Z50, yeah, you know, from Australia. And you would not believe how cold it is this morning. It got down to 19 degrees Celsius, so I had to rug up, beanie on, hoodie on. We're ready to go. You guys, in warmer climates, you wouldn't understand. You just wouldn't understand. This lens is really cool. First of all, it's super, super lightweight. This is the weight, and it's very simple. On the outside, there are no buttons. So you want to go autofocus or manual focus, you need to do that in camera. And the lens just has one external ring for focusing, which is really quite easy to access and use. It just sits where your hand would sit as you hold the camera and the lens, and you can just do it quite easily with your forefinger there. It's quite wide and easy to move, but not super loose. So it's good. It's a nice bit of tension there. If we take off the lens cap, which is easy to do, it's a 58mm thread across there. If you want to put a filter on, it comes with a lens hood, and as always, lens hood pulls off. You can even turn it around if you want a little bit of protection and you don't want to lose it. If we take off the mount, we have your classic USB-C plug there where we can upgrade any firmware for the lens, and otherwise you're just good to go. Snug fit, carry less, capture more. Let's get outside, see what it can do. We're doing some works in our backyard. Our whole fence has fallen down, so it's costing us a mint, but that's where it's at. It's taken 4.5 years to get the approval from the Body Corp, but we're into it, so I thought I'd use the lens to document the changes. This is shot at an f-stop of 16, which is a high f-stop, and an ISO of 450. You can see all the details here, and I'll leave them to you as we go through. But the question is, I focused on the middle of the shot, and we're just going to move our way in and recognize that that isn't as sharp as I'd like it to be. Now keep that in mind, that when we're shooting an f-stop of 16, it's not as sharp as we'd like it to be. Now let's move forward. Still f-stop of 16, we're focused here, and that's not too bad. Again, it was low light and massive high dynamic range between the shadow and the sun, and we're focused on the digger, and that's a little bit disappointing, but it's on an f-stop of 16. I then applied the f-stop of 16 and focused in on the digger here, got the mud and so forth. This is zoomed in to 100% in case you're wondering. So it goes all the way down to 1.7. Have a look at this, 1.7, and this is how sharp it is on the handles. There's a lot of detail there. I'm pretty happy with that. Obviously, this is all meant to be super, super blur, but if we then focus on this point here, this is what happens. So that is quite sharp. Then I'm using the wide to capture the whole digger, and because of a wide, when you got really close, this is 15mm and an APS-C. It's equivalent to 22mm on a full frame, to give you some sort of context if you're familiar with the full frame. And you can see again, that's starting to get better. That looks a bit sharper than it previously did, and that's on 3.5. You will see as we move to a medium place in the f-stop, we move to the middle place, it gets sharper and sharper. Then I took a landscape shot and I worked my way through the apertures. Now keep in mind, f.1 is the potential sharpest point of this lens. It's right in the middle of the aperture between letting the amount of light in. So we're going to zoom in. So this is at f1.8 sharpness. Then we go to 2.8. Keep your eye on the fence and the rocks. Then we're at 5. This should be the sharpest this lens can shoot at. I'm steady at 1/125 and 100 ISO. Then we're going to go to f8. And I reckon f8's looking the best so far. If we go to f11, it starts to pull away from its sharpness. f16 does the same. I'm confident to say that I think the sharpest point of this lens is at f8. This is an f-stop of 9, and ISO is 2000, so it's sharp but noisy because it's a little bit dark. Now talking about noise, let's go over here. I want to show you what it's like when it's super noisy. This is shot a 1/2000, f-stop of 13 at 36,000 ISO, and I just deliberately wanted to shoot here so you could see what sort of quality you get and how noisy it is. So by all intents and purposes, that's actually not a bad shot with a crazy high ISO, but we could actually put a noise reduction on that and tidy it up nicely. But it does all right in low light. What about up close and personal? This is the minimum focusing distance, which is 14 centimeters from the face of the lens or 22 centimeters from the face of the sensor. And that comes up super sharp. Like, hello boys, super sharp. That's on an f-stop of 2, and I played around with a shot here. This is on an f-stop of 1.8 and gives you lots of detail. Maybe if I go over to here, yeah, it gives us lots of detail. You get this beautiful bokeh effect in the background. So that's what the bokeh will give you. If you're wondering what sort of shape is the bokeh and how does all that work, it actually looks pretty good. This is an f-stop of 13, so more of the middle range. It goes up to 16. Now, if I go to f2.8, this is a self-portrait, but look at this. Look how crazy sharp that is when it's up close. And what I've discovered is the closer you shoot to something, the sharper it is. Like, what is happening with those eyebrows? Like, holy smokes. It's like a party happening up there. I should have groomed myself more appropriately before taking this photo. I apologize. And this is what happens when you shoot in full light. And again, those eyebrows, no, we're not going to look at them anymore. Also shot our fence because I wanted to see what sort of warping it had on the side. And so you can see there's a little bit of warp. You see that? That's a little bit of a bend, as is this. It starts in close, comes out wide and goes back. So what that's doing, because it's a wide lens, it warps like that, but very minimal lens flare. So only on a couple of shots that I have the lens flare, and I wasn't shooting with the hood on. So you can probably avoid nearly all lens glare if you have the hood on, and you've got to be careful when you're looking with direct light. But as you can see, there's these lights coming here, and then this here, that's all lens flare that you get from a lens when you shoot kind of with the sun directly onto the face of the lens. This is an f-stop of 4, and I just focused in nice and sharp. And again here, this is an f-stop of 4. It's kind of sharp there, and it blurs out up the top in the back of the image. But notice on these photographs as I go through is very little vignetting. It doesn't matter which spectrum of the aperture range I use. I was very pleased that, see, even there's like, it doesn't actually feel like it's vignetting. Maybe the tiniest bit. If I overexpose, just watch the corners. See, it doesn't feel like the corners, maybe that's a little bit there, maybe just a touch, but nothing to actually worry yourself about, and you can easily remove that if you want later on. But we're looking at really lightweight gear. There's not much glass in here, and therefore it's not going to be as sharp as you might prefer it to be. But for all intents and purposes, if you want a really affordable wide lens that you can keep in your crop sensor kit with your Z50 or your Z30 or whatever that is, you could even vlog with it because you know it's really good up close. This is a great option. Shooting at 1.7, that aperture gives you just incredible separation from the back, and the plane of focus is actually sensible that you can play with it. Sometimes they're so shallow that you're like, oh my gosh, how do we find anything with this? But the autofocus worked really well through the lens. It was very fast, picked up every single time, and I really enjoyed using the lens. This is what it looks like on the Z50. Yep, that's right. Very cool. Comes in this little bag. All the VILTROX lenses come in this little bag, which is really, I guess, handy from time to time. I usually put my lenses in my camera gear bag. But if you ever have it separate that you want to carry it around, this little lens pouch is just a nice little touch. Thanks very much to the folks at VILTROX for sending this to me. It's released today. So you get it today, hot off the press, and I've really appreciated our partnership. And for those of you still watching, if you want to pick up a free Cityscape essentials resource, you can do so just down below, as well as all the links to this wonderful lens that you can pick it up, or at least have a more in-depth look if that's what you would like to do. Thanks so much for watching, everybody. Any questions, I'll try and answer them down below. Otherwise, have an amazing week, or a few days, or however long it is till we see each other again, and I'll catch up with you soon. Bye. Otherwise, have an amazing